Recently, KEMIMOTO sent me rear passenger foot pegs for the Honda Trail CT125. I have a 2021 US model, and the US models do not come with rear passenger foot pegs. There's a coffee shop and a grocery store in my neighborhood, and I was recently thinking how handy it would be to be able to use the trail for me and my partner to hop over and grab groceries or a cup of coffee or just run little errands that are close by. All of this is within a mile, and so we would not be out on any busy roads with the Honda Trail, as it's not capable of speeds higher than 55 when it's maxed out. Now, KEMIMOTO did send me these for free. Just as a disclaimer, I did not pay for them, but I have not been paid to do this review and install video. I'm doing this on my own free will, and it really worked out because I was thinking about getting these anyway. You can see the quality of these is really nice, and we'll get some closer up shots in a second with what comes in the box. But we'll get these installed, and I'll just give you a little idea of how the quality is and what I think of it overall. So this is everything that comes in the box. We have our 2 passenger foot pegs, we have our 2 clamps, we have all of our hardware, we have an Allen key, and then we have our product installation instructions. You can see that the quality of these is honestly really quite high. The threads inside look good, the overall anodization of this looks good. There's no scrap marks on it or anything. This is a very, very well-made product. It's heavy, but not overwhelmingly so. It's not going to add a bunch of weight to your trail, because that does matter on the trail. The clamps are solid, and one of the things that I like about them is that it does have a tiny bit of felt on the inside to keep from scratching your swing arm. I think if it did not have that, I would use some sort of clear protective tape, some sort of 3M helicopter tape, but luckily I don't have to. And then we have a few different types of bolts down here with their washers, their lock washers. These 2 big ones are to actually mount this to the bracket, and then the smaller ones are to mount the bracket to the swing arm. So very simple process here. Let's get this installed and let's take a look at how this works. Alright, so this is our product manual, or our product installation instructions, and you can see that KEMIMOTO makes it very clear as to where these mount on the trail. In the US, we do not have rear passenger foot pegs, so you can see here we have the 2 circles, a gap, and then the third, and these aftermarket ones from KEMIMOTO are going to mount right here in the middle. They make it very clear with the instructions. All we got to do is get the bracket aligned correctly and then tighten it down. Now, the only thing that I wish in these instructions is that it had a torque value, because it is an aluminum clamp and this is a swing arm, and I do not want to see anybody crush it. So that is the only thing that I wish these had, but otherwise very, very straightforward. So let's go ahead and put these on, and let's see what these look like and if we run into any problems. Alright, so we want to take our clamp with the KEMIMOTO logo facing out. We want to slide this underneath our rear brake line and center it in between the holes here where the big gap is. We can take the bottom side of the clamp with a lock washer and a bolt, and we can put one of these in. I'm only going to put one just to get it hand started. I would probably apply a little bit of Loctite to this if you have some, just to make sure that this doesn't back out when the bike is buzzing when you're moving down the road. I don't have any on me right now, so I'm going to have to go to the store and buy some, but for now I'm going to show you how this goes in. So we're just going to line it up over there, and I'm just going to get that started by hand. And the bolt thread's in real easy. The threads are real clean on this. Now I'm going to take a second one, pop that on there, and I'm just going to start this. This one doesn't want to spin as freely, so we'll use our tool that KEMIMOTO includes. And I might just have to slide the center stand out of the way to get the tool in there, just to get it started. It helps if you don't drop it. And we're going to just evenly bring this to tight. And again, if this did not have some sort of felt liner on the inside, I would use some sort of protective tape to make sure that we're not going to scratch the trail in any way, because if you're like me, this thing is your baby. And just avoid using any sort of Allen key that has like a ball end on it, so that you don't end up rounding out the bolt itself. And these are pretty tight. I'm feeling pretty good about this already. All right, so now we have that on there. And that was pretty easy to do. These bolts are tight and they're evenly spaced, so there is just a tiny bit of a gap right there. And so now we can take our foot peg itself, and we're going to align the square on this end of it with the square right here. We're going to put that there, and you can see that this is the threaded part before I do that. That is actually where the threads are. And so we're going to take the big bolt that it includes, and again, I would probably use a little bit of Loctite on this to make sure it doesn't back itself out, although it does have the locking washer, so it should be okay. And we're going to just pop that in there. I'm going to slide this through first. The challenge here is that it's going to be, we're going to have to make sure that we don't touch the brake line with a tool, or pinch it with a tool, I should say. And I'm just going to bring this up by hand at first. Now, the only part of this that I think is silly is that they include what's obviously like a 5mm Allen key, but this big bolt is a 6. So you're going to need a separate wrench for this. If there's one that's supposed to be included, I did not have it in the kit that I got. So just keep that in mind. This is a 6mm, so we'll have to get one and tighten this down. So now that we have a 6, we can finish tightening this down. Should be a pretty quick and easy thing to do, as I had it pretty far in by hand. And just remember, it's lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, so we will be going this direction. And you can see I'm just kind of keeping that brake line out of the way of the tool so that I don't pinch anything. And yeah, we're tight already. That's that. This folds down very easily, but it's not loose or anything, and it does have a bolt right there so you can tighten it with a lock nut on the back side of it, which is nice. And honestly, like, that's solid. That's not going anywhere. That's very nice. And this, when it's folded up, doesn't really protrude any further out than maybe this Trail 125 cover right here. If we put it right here, you can kind of see. If anything, the kickstart is out further than the rear passenger foot peg when it's folded. And then when it's down, it's about as far out as the driver's passenger foot peg. So really, that's not bad at all. You just have to make sure when nobody's on it to fold those up. But it's very out of the way. And I do like that this is actually shaped to the swing arm, and it doesn't have any sort of weird spacer other than the little felt protector, the little felt liner that protects the paint. I think that's a really, honestly, simple and great way to add passenger foot pegs to this. I'm honestly very impressed. This was well thought out, the quality is good, it's anodized well. A+. Alright, well, let's repeat this process on the other side, and we'll make sure that it goes as smoothly over there. We'll make sure that we have both of them tightened down all the way, and then me and my partner will give this a little test around here, make sure that this height is appropriate for a rider on the back, and we can see overall if it's going to work out. Before I start this side, it is important to note that this side only has 2 of the circles here. We're going to mount it in between the 2 of those. So just keep that in mind. If you do end up getting these, that's how it's going to go on the chain side. So now we have this side installed, and I will say that this was definitely the more difficult side to install, mainly because of the chain protector, the chain itself, and I did not have this on the center stand. So if you get these and you do this, highly recommend doing this with the center stand up, because I had to push it down a little bit here to get this in place and make sure I had room for the wrench right here. So just something to keep in mind if you do that yourself. But now we have them on. Overall, I'd say out of 10, the difficulty of this was probably only about a 3. Very, very simple, very, very easy. Just making sure that you have all of the tools and the bolts. Again, I'd like to see some sort of torque value from KEMIMOTO, but otherwise, I think the installation instructions were great. All right, now that we have both of the passenger foot pegs installed, we can put them to the test. I'll have to remove my rear box real quick, but once I do that, we can take it for a little spin. I don't currently have a passenger seat. I'm working on it. But for now, we're going to use a sweatshirt or maybe a folded up blanket, just so that there's something comfortable for my partner to sit on. So let's take this for a little spin here around the apartment complex and make sure that it's comfortable for her.
I thought the passenger foot pegs were very comfortable. My legs were at the perfect angle while sitting there. My feet didn't slide off at all while we were riding. Nothing interfered with anything else. I didn't touch the chain. I didn't mess up with Jake's feet while he was riding. The only thing we really need is a back seat for me to ride a little bit more.
So there you have it. My partner and I are very impressed with the quality of this overall. I think that we're going to get a lot of use out of this going forward, especially once we get a passenger seat for it. Again, thank you to KEMIMOTO. Very happy to try this product out for them. Again, I was not paid to do this review. I did it on my own free will, and I was only sent a free test pair. Otherwise, everything that you've heard about the quality and everything like that is my own opinion, and I am impressed by it. I think that this is a useful accessory to have on your Honda Trail. I think that if you want to bop around town and run errands with someone else, friends, family, your partner, you should definitely consider it. And KEMIMOTO wants you to as well. They've given me a discount code that is down by the link below, but I'm going to put it up on the screen here. It is Rodeo KM10 for 10% off a pair of these. Definitely check it out. Stay tuned for more videos coming soon, guys, and until next time, peace.